Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the July Hella Handmade Creations. If you don't know what Hella Handmade Creations is, every month a bunch of different indie makers get together and they contribute a polish. Each maker has their own theme that they can come up with, so everybody's theme is different, everybody's inspirations are different. I will be sure to tell you what each inspiration was this time. So Hella Handmade Creations every month runs from the 14th of the month to the 21st of the month. So this one will go live July 14th and it will be over July 21st, and it is a pre-order, so it does take a few weeks to get your order in. So I do have 18 things to look at today, and let's go ahead and get started. So first, from Destinies Lacquer, we have Vat of Redundancy. This is described as a black base polish with a green to purple multi-chrome micro flaky and hollow flakies. This was inspired by the show Rick and Morty. It will retail for $13 and there is no cap. So what I'm talking about when I say no cap, it does not refer to the cap on the polish. It just means that there's no limit to the amount of polishes of this shade that you can buy. So some polishes have a cap of X amount that they have available, and then some have no cap. This one is not capped. So this one does take 2 coats to be completely opaque. It is really shifty on the nails. Formula is very smooth and easy to work with, not too thick or too thin, no running or pulling or staining with this one. You get a good amount of these gold flakies out without having to do anything special. This one is going to dry slightly textured because of all the flakies that are in there. 1 coat of a thicker kind of glitter eating glossy top coat should smooth everything out. That being said, texture does not always mean it's difficult to remove. This one was decently easy to remove because everything in here is mostly those flakes. This is going to be one of those polishes that in every different lighting though, it looks like a different color, which I think is a lot of fun. It's very shifty on the nail. I really like this one. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Vat of Redundancy and a glossy top coat. So up next, from Chirality, I know I always say it wrong, but as I know I'm saying it wrong, I don't remember how to say it right. So Chirality is called Rum Ham. So this is described as a sparkling punch red to tiger orange multichrome with a rose to copper shifting shimmer. This was inspired by Frank's Rum Ham from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This will retail for $11 and there's a cap of 75 bottles available. So this does take 2 to 3 coats to be completely opaque. I did 2 thicker coats and I was happy with my coverage. Depending on your nail line, your nail length, your preferences, how picky you are about seeing any kind of visible nail line, you might need to go in for 3 coats of this. This one is nice and shifty on the nail. You do get like a gold to red shifty shimmer looking, and then it looks like the gold to red is the Aurora pigment, like an Aurora shimmer in an orange base rather than being an orange to red multi-chrome. Not that that's not what it is, but I'm saying that's more so what it looks like when it's a full manicure. Nothing in this one's going to dry textured or be difficult to remove. It is a pretty standard kind of metallic-y looking polish, but it is going to dry down pretty dull, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this one off, but nothing in here is going to be difficult at all to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Rum Ham and a glossy top coat. So up next, from Colors by Llarowe, we have A Kind of Magic. This is described as a blurple base with a purple to pink to blue to aqua shifting shimmer, a pink to purple to blue to aqua shifting flaky, and prismatic hollow flakies. This was inspired by Freddie Mercury. It will retail for $11 and there is no cap. So this one is another one that falls in between that 2 to 3 coat realm. I was again happy with 2 coats on this one, depending once again on how you like to wear your polishes, how visible your nail line is, how strong of a line that is. You might end up needing a 3rd coat of this one. Formula is very smooth though. I expect nothing less from Colors by Llarowe. This is one that's super shifty on the nail as well. It does easily go from that full spectrum of the purple to the aqua, and you get every color in between on it as well. The flakes that are in here aren't the forerunner of the polish. They're not the thing that stands out the most. I think the aqua kind of flash is what you're going to get most of on your nail, and then the second thing would be that kind of like holographic shimmer to it, and then you will see the flakes as like a third party edition. This is going to dry slightly textured, and it is going to be the itziest bit difficult to remove. These little holographic bits do kind of want to stick to your nails. They're not super difficult. They are all relatively small, but it's not as easy as like the last polish was to remove. Overall, this one is really, really pretty. I can see this being a staple in a lot of people's collection for the fall. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of a kind of magic and a glossy top coat. So up next, from DRK Nails, we have Today or Never, and this is my first experience with this brand. This is described as a red magnetic polish with a blue pigment, blue to purple aurora shimmer, red to green aurora shimmer, and hollow micro flakies. This is her last installment in the Mary Poppins inspiration. It will retail for $11.50, and there is no cap. So this did take 2 coats for me for full opacity. The formula is a little bit on the thinner side. It's not so thin where it wants to run and pull, but it is noticeably thinner than anything else that we've looked at today. The magnetic pull that's on this isn't the strongest that I've seen. I think it's because the magnetic pigment that she used is very similar to the base color. So while that blue flashes in there, that's pretty much the only distinguishable thing between this is where the magnetic is and everything in the background where the blue is where the magnetic is not. It's really, really early in the morning. I'm so sorry if I'm not making any sense. But it's not the most distinguishable magnetic that I've seen. So if you're looking for that super strong, like this is a magnet, this is probably not it. It is really, really beautiful for that more subtle kind of extra special something on your nail. If that's what you're looking for, I think this is really, really beautiful. Another really gorgeous fall color. Nothing in here is going to dry textured. This one does dry a little bit on the dull side as well, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off. This, I think, is a shiner in the sun though. Like when you have that either office lighting or the sun lighting where it's just kind of that super bright daylight bulb. This is really, really pretty because there is like a hidden holographic in here, and it looks really, really gorgeous against like the blue and the magnetic line. It's really, really pretty in like that is its time to shine. So anyway, in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Today or Never magnetized and a glossy top coat. So up next, from Ethereal Lacquer, we have Mercury. This is described as a pale blurple base with a very dense red to green shifting shimmer. This was inspired by Mercury from her new Planet series. This is the first in the installment. It'll be $13 with no cap. So on its own, this one does take 3 coats to build up to opacity. It is quite sheer. To get the strongest bit in that shifty shimmer, you do need a more sheared out base so that shimmer can kind of come through and shine. So it does take 3 coats to build up to opacity. I also showed you what it looked like on 1 coat over a black, and the effect is entirely different. So by itself, you do get this bluey purple kind of ethereal look to the nail, and then if you layer it over a darker color, for instance I layered it over the black, you do get more of a like fiery red kind of dragon-esque look. So this is a very versatile polish. I think it's absolutely beautiful both ways, and the shiftiness does show up on the nail in both forms. This isn't going to dry with any texture. This is 99% a shimmer, and it does dry decently glossy on its own. You will want that top coat to keep your manicure lasting a little bit longer though, and it will help, you know, just make everything look like a nice finished manicure. But nothing in here is going to dry textured, so there's nothing to hide, and nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats on its own, and then 1 coat over black of Mercury plus a glossy top coat. So next, from Femme Fatale, we have Fading Roses, This Garden's Over. This is described as a bright pink to red to berry purple thermal with a copper golden shimmer and orange to gold flakies with gold reflex. Her inspiration was Stephen King. This one would retail for $14, and there is no cap. So this one does take 2 to 3 coats to build up to opacity. Again, I was happy in 2 coats. I'm not sure if I was working in thicker coats at this particular moment, but I was happy on 2 coats. But again, depending on your nails in particular, you might want to go in for a 3rd coat of this. The flakes that are in here are very complementary in each of the states. So the warm state and the cold state, the gold stands out really, really nicely. Formula on this was good. It's not too thick or too thin. Very easy to use and easy to work with. I didn't have any kind of running, pulling, or staining with this one. This is going to dry just the itziest bitziest bit textured because of all the flakes that are in there. They are all relatively small, so the only time a texture would happen is if you are building flaky upon flaky upon flaky without flakes around it, and this one is pretty loaded, so it's not that probable to happen, but the slight texture is going to happen because of all the flakes that are in there. This one is also going to dry down dull, so both to hide the texture and to give it that nice glossy shine, you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off, but a matte top coat would be absolutely stunning on this one as well. But in my swatch photo, you are going to see 2 coats of Fading Roses, this Garden's Over, and a glossy top coat. Up next from Graceful Nail Polish, we have Amazon Princess. This is simply described as a red linear holographic with gold shimmer dust. Her inspiration was DC's Wonder Woman. This one will retail for $12 and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. So this one is extremely opaque on your nails. It only took me 1 coat to be opaque. I did in my swatch photo or video do a little bit of a thicker coat on accident, but I did nice thin coats on the rest of my nails and I was still happy with 1 coat opacity. I always tend to wear 2 coats when I'm out and about anyway, so I would just by habit throw on a 2nd coat of this. If you were like that, you probably would want 2 coats as well. Formula is very smooth, very easy to work with. I had no running, pooling, or staining with this one, but being that it is so opaque and it is a red, you might just want to be sure to wear a base coat just to avoid any potential staining. So the hollow that's in here is something, I believe it's called a Spectraflare, where it's not like itty bitty glitter, it's an actual holographic pigment. So nothing in here is going to dry textured from that holographic, but this one is going to dry down just the itziest bit dull, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this one off. It'll help that holographic shine through and it'll give you, like, again, that full plump manicured look. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 1 coat of Amazon Princess and a glossy top coat. Moving right along from Heather's Hues, we have her Puberty operating system is crashing. This is described as a blue to purple to pink to green multichrome with a strong pink to green magnetic multichrome shimmer. This was inspired by Bob's Burgers. It will retail for $14 with 100 bottles available. So this one did take 2 coats to be completely opaque for me. Most of the time when I'm doing a multichrome, I want my base color to be entirely opaque before I magnetize it, so I will usually add an extra unnecessary coat. But the first coat of this was so opaque that the 2nd coat was just fine for me to use magnet on, and I didn't, when the magnetic pigment pooled, it didn't make anything else look more sheer, so I was very happy with this one on 2 coats. The magnetic pull on this one is very strong. It is very apparent, so if you're looking for a more strong magnetic pull, I would recommend this one. Formula is smooth and easy to work with, very shifty on the nails. This one is going to dry dull but not textured, so the glossy top coat is just going to help everything come together and look like a full manicure. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of her Puberty operating system is crashing and a glossy top coat. So up next from Lilypad Lacquer, we have Porky Pig. This is described as a nude base scattered hollow with blue and red shimmer and a scattering of multichrome flakies. This is her first installment in the Looney Tunes inspiration. It will retail for $15.50 and there is no cap. So while I guess this could fall into a nude base area, I do think it leans more on the white side, like an off-white kind of bridal shade side. The primary shimmer that I get in this is the blue. I'm not seeing much of the red unless it's just being hidden by the base color, but the blue is definitely the primary shimmer. Formula is good on this one. It does take 3 coats to build up to complete opacity for me. The hollow that's in here does stand out nicely, even though in these kind of lighter, almost white shades, it is very almost impossible to get a white hollow. And the flakes aren't the forerunner of this polish, as she said, but they are really, really beautiful scattered throughout this one. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Porky Pig and a glossy top coat. So next up, from Lollipop Posse Lacquer, we have the Nightward Shores of Dream. This is described as a black jelly filled with a blue shifting aurora shimmer, a scattered hollow micro glitter, blue to purple shifting iridescent flakies, and orange to pink shifting flakies. This will retail for $13 and there is no cap. The inspiration on this one is her first installment of a new series inspired by Dream of the Endless. So being that this is in a black jelly base, this could double as a topper over any kind of darker colors. I did build this one up to opacity in 3 coats with no problem though. You get a smorgasbord of flakes out and glitters and just everything that's in there. It's like a kitchen sink polish, but it works together really, really well, and it's very beautiful and setting on the nails. Like, this one is gorgeous. Formula is really good. It's not too thick or too thin. Very easy to use and work with. Indie makers typically don't have like difficult formulas to begin with, but this one was like a sheer delight to apply, because sometimes these like kitchen sink polishes can tend to be on the thicker side. This one was just a pleasure. This is going to dry very textured because of everything that's in there, because you're building up, instead of like a base color, you're more so building up the added elements. So it is going to dry pretty textured, so you will want 1, maybe 2 coats of a glossy top coat to finish this off. And removal isn't like scrubbing difficult, like it's not going to stick to your nails like a glitter will, but you might have to go through a few cotton balls because these flakes tend to get everywhere. All that being said, in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of the Nightward Shores of Dream and a glossy top coat. Moving on to LynB Designs, we have, it's called Style People. This is described as a deep green blue base with an aqua spark shimmer, a micro hollow shimmer, and red to gold to green shifting flakies. The inspiration on this is Schitt's Creek, and it will retail for $13 with 90 bottles available. So this only takes 2 coats to build up to opacity for me. Formula is really good. This is really beautiful and deep on the nail. I do think this is one that probably could have benefited from a 3rd coat. It might have deepened the base color up just a little bit more and given it more of like a royal-esque kind of feel to it. The flakes that are in here are quite sparse, but they do stand out like surprisingly well on the nail. The hollow that's in here is nice and strong. The flakes are nice and shifty. The base color is nice and beautiful. I don't have any kind of complaints with this one. This one is going to dry slightly textured though, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish it off. Nothing that I think requires a 2nd glossy top coat, and this one is not going to be, again, super difficult to remove. It's much like the Colors Bella Rose shade, where the holographic particles are so small that they do come off relatively easily. You're not going to sit there and scrub glitter off your nail, but it's not going to be as easy as like a cream would be, if that makes any sense. But anyway, in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of, it's called Style People, and a glossy top coat. And I'm sorry if I sound like off or like pissy. Not only is it early, I'm pretty sure I'm getting sick, so I'm not trying to be like douchey. Up next, from Miss Sparkles, we have Fantasia. This is described simply as a bright pink acrylic with an aurora pigment and hollow ultra chrome chameleon flakies. This is the first installment in her Thai Beanie Baby series. It will retail for $11 with no cap. This is so fun and so cute. I can 100% see her inspiration in this polish. I love it. I don't know, I love the kind of pink that this is. I love ultra chrome chameleon flakies. You know, they have my heart. Shifty shimmers are something that I'm like, I didn't care for at first, but I'm really coming into. I think everything works together really, really well in this polish. The flakes contrast nicely, where if you wanted a matte top coat on this one, it would be super flattering, but a glossy top coat is also super flattering. So I really, really like this one. It is going to dry with a slight texture, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off. It does take 3 coats to build up to opacity. I'm not sure that I said that. But on top of that 3 coats, you will definitely want a glossy top coat to finish this off because it does dry with a slight texture. But again, these are flakes that are in here, so nothing should be difficult to remove. They do get a little bit messy upon removal, but nothing that you're going to sit there and scrub for. So the shifty Aurora pigment that's in here, I do primarily see gold. I think that's kind of all I see. It might shift to a green. This one might be that gold to green Aurora shimmer, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Fantasia and a glossy top coat. So up next from Nail Hoot, we have Mary Alice. This is described as a light blue linear holographic with a golden green flash. It was inspired by Desperate Housewives. This will retail for $10.99 with no cap. So this one is nice and dainty. It's a very beautiful kind of like everyday wear shade. It's easily wearable. This does take 3 coats to build up to opacity because it is so delicate. The shimmer that's in here actually stands out really, really nicely on the nail. And it's one of those like larger particled shimmers, so instead of just being like, oh, a shimmery blue, it's like, that's really pretty. This is going to dry pretty dull and slightly textured, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish it off. It'll also help the shimmer that's in here kind of like blossom. Removal of this one's not going to be difficult. These are smaller than a flake, so they're not going to make a mess, but they are larger than, but they're also not a glitter. Whoop, where's my mind? They're also not a glitter, so it's not going to take any kind of scrubbing. So removal of this one is going to be pretty easy. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Mary Alice and a glossy top coat. Up next from my brand Pampered Polishes, we have Destinies Intertwined. So this is a pale yellow crelly with a red to gold to green Aurora shimmer, a scattered hollow, and an ultra chrome chameleon flaky. This was inspired by the Papu fruit from Kingdom Hearts, which is my last installment in the Kingdom Hearts series. It'll retail for $12 with no cap. So being that this is a pale yellow as well as has added elements in an Aurora shimmer, it is on the more sheer side. It does take 3 coats to build up to opacity. Formula I think is smooth and easy to work with, not too thick or too thin. You do get a good amount of flakies out without having to do anything special, any kind of swirling to get them out, or double dipping, or holding the bottle upside down, anything like out of the realm of just like picking it up and applying it. The shimmer that's in here is primarily on your nails going to be in the red shade. This one isn't going to dry with any kind of texture. There's not like a smorgasbord of flakies in there like the Lollipop had. But there is enough in there where if you wanted, it's like that contrasting flake. So if you wanted the matte top coat on it, it should stand out really, really nicely, but it also looks really beautiful with a glossy top coat. The glossy top coat is also going to help that like secondary holographic stand out as opposed to the flakes with a matte top coat. This is also going to dry a little bit dull, so the glossy top coat will help that out. And nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove, so in my swatch photo you're going to see 3 coats of Destinies Intertwined and a glossy top coat. Getting down to the nitty gritty. So up next from Poetry Cowgirl we have We're All Alright. The description on this reads, a denim blue base loaded with pink to orange to gold shifting shimmer, large particle red to green aurora shimmer, green to blue to violet iridescent ghost flakies, red to orange to gold ultra chrome chameleon flakies, and a variety of red, orange, gold, and purple glitter. The inspiration behind this was the song American Kids by Kenny Chesney. It'll retail for $13 with a cap of 200 bottles available. So Poetry Cowgirl is a brand that like I've actually been really, really loving. I've gotten a few things from them through like Polish Pickup and Hella Handmade Creations. I picked up a couple things from the PolishCon, and I haven't been disappointed with anything. And I love that she names all of her polishes after like country songs. This one is another like kitchen sink polish. It's, you heard from the description, it's got like everything, a little bit of everything in there. But surprisingly works together really, really well. It does take 3 coats to build up to opacity. Again, this like jellyish base is not what you're building up. You're more so building up the added elements in here. So the glitters and the flakes and the shimmers and the pigments. Everything else is being built up as opposed to the pigments. I definitely said the pigments though. This one is definitely going to dry super textured. You will want probably 2 coats of a glossy top coat to finish this off. For glitters like this, I do usually grab for my Marvel Liquid Macro Top Coat from Super Chick Lacquer. It tends to cover any kind of texture on just 1 coat, and it dries really, really quickly. So that is my preferred top coat for super glittery polishes. But if you don't use like a thicker glitter eating top coat, you might need 2 coats of a top coat. This is one that I also recommend a peel off base coat for. If you don't, you will sit there, soak your nails in acetone for a good like 5 minutes before being able to take this off. So I would recommend that peel off base coat. It won't like keep your manicure lasting super duper long. So if that's like an issue for you, obviously don't take that advice. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of We're All Alright in a glossy top coat. So up next, from Quixotic Polish, we have Live Free. This is described as an inky bluish black base with a deep red shimmer and 7 different iridescent flakies. The inspiration behind this is graffiti art. It will retail for $11.50 and there's a cap of 150 bottles available. So the inky blue base, she called it inky blue black, which I can see in the bottle, but once it's on your nails, it's not one of those polishes that are like difficult to distinguish between blue and black. It's most definitely like an inky blue, deep kind of rich base. Obviously there being 7 different kind of flakies in here, there's a lot of shifty things happening. Your eyes moving in 100 different directions looking at this one, which makes for a really interesting manicure. The red shimmer that's in here also stands out really, really nicely on the nail. I know she didn't say it was an Aurora shimmer, but I'm not sure if it's the base or the shimmer or what, but like from different angles, that red does look like it shifts to a green. Potentially anything else that's in this polish could do that, but I do think it looks like the shimmer that's shifting. This did take 3 coats to build up to opacity. I'm not sure that I said that, and it is going to dry with a slight texture, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish that off. A matte top coat will help the flakes stand out in this one, but you will lose some of the elements of the shimmer if you do use a matte top coat. Formula on this one was smooth. It's a little bit on the thinner side, where you do have to work in thinner coats if you don't want it like built up on the sides and like bald on the top. You know, when I say that, I think of like those older balding men who have no hair on the top and they have like the hair on the sides. That's what I think of whenever you work in too thick of a coat for a thin formulaed polish. So you will get balding man syndrome with this one if you work too thickly with it. So it is going to dry slightly textured, like I said, the glossy top coat to finish that off. But these are all flakes in here, so you're not going to have any kind of scrubbing issues like a glitter. Nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove. It might just get a little bit messy. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Live Free and a glossy top coat. So the last polish that we have to look at today is from Rogue Lacquer, and it's called ZOUWU. This is described as a turquoise hollow base with a red to green to copper color shifting shimmer, a copper shifting micro glitter, and a copper to red to orange flaky. The inspiration behind this is Fantastic Beasts. It will retail for $12 with no cap. So formula on this one is really good. You get these like quintessential Rogue Lacquer flakies that I really, really love. The shimmer in here is beautiful. The flakes that are in here are beautiful. The hollow that's in here is beautiful. Formula is beautiful. Everything in this polish is really working together nicely, and I love it. It does take 2 to 3 coats to be completely opaque. This is the day that I was working in my 2 coats that tended to be thicker. So depending on your application preference, all that good stuff, your nail line, you might end up needing a 3rd coat of this one. This is going to dry down a little bit textured and slightly dull, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off. It'll help everything come together as one polish, but that matte top coat, like something about putting a matte top coat on flakies in me is just like, I know you've heard it a million times from me, but I feel like I have to keep reiterating it because it is a look. Nothing in here is going to be super difficult to remove. It's not going to be super easy either. It's more so messy than anything, but I did go through a few cotton balls with this one, so just bear that in mind. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of ZOUWU, which I'm probably saying wrong, and a glossy top coat. So the last thing that I have to share with you today is from Under a Hula Moon Wax Melts. This is their Don't Go Breaking My Heart Hella Handmade Creations exclusive scent. This is described as a scent blend of a corsage of baby roses mixed with a teen staple of bubblegum and juicy sour grape candy. This will retail for $4.50 and there's no cap. So when I first received this, it had an entirely different scent, and it said to let it sit for a couple weeks before burning it, and I did. I went out of town for 2 weeks, and when I came back, it smelled like, you know how when you go into a garden and it's like, oh, okay, these are flowers, but when they start to bloom, it's like, oh my god, this smells amazing. That's what happened, and I don't know if I've just never had wax early enough to notice that there's a huge scent difference between, like, this might not even be the appropriate term, but cured and uncured. But there was a huge scent difference, and I love where this scent went. This one melted really, really nicely in my melter. I do have it running actually in this one right here. I've used 3 cubes of it, so I tend to forget about the wax that's in here because I hang out here all the time. I don't know why, but I usually put the wax in my melter in the kitchen every single day, and then in here it gets replaced like every few days. But I will say what I noticed with this one is that the scent throw on this not only reaches this entire room, but it goes through this hallway here and this hallway here. So it is a very strong scent, but the primary thing that I like about this, and I know I'm going on and on about wax and I'm so sorry, but the primary thing that I noticed about this is that after those few days that I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably put more wax in there, it still smells. So I really, really appreciated this. It's not a brand that I've ever worked for or purchased from before, but it is definitely, after this, something that I plan on checking out more of, because not only is the scent beautiful, the throw is beautiful, and it lasts an extremely long time. So I'm actually really, really impressed with this wax. And we did it, guys, we did it. That was 18 products. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this month's offerings from Hella Handmade Creations. There were obviously more polishes that I don't have. The ones that I don't have though are listed on their site you can check them out before release and all that good stuff. But I did get a pretty good chunk of what is available. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the polishes that I did have to share with you today. Let me know what your favorite was. Let me know if you plan on picking anything up. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. And I will talk to you again next time.